Hello crafty friends, it's Jess from jesscrafts.com, and today I have a card and envelope that match, and today's video is sponsored by Right at Home Shop, and I'm going to be showing you the package as I open it up and telling you more about the shop as I go. It's an online store but also a brick and mortar store located in Massachusetts, and they contacted me asking if I would like to work with them and make a video featuring some of the products they carry in the shop. The owner, Nicole, is really sweet, but she's also a fabulous card maker. And over on the blog, she shares a lot of great cards featuring the items that she carries in the shop. So if you wanted to see some more ideas, I would definitely recommend going over to her blog. I love when shops and companies give you a lot of ideas to go with their products. And she also sent me a little Lawn Fawn set and stamp set and die right there that I'm going to be giving away as part of this video. So please stay tuned all the way till the end of the video, and I'll explain what you can do to enter to win that. But I'll first be sharing with you a project. So here are the different supplies that I got from Nicole right at home. She sent me the Happy Mail stamp set from WPlus9, but also some Dear Lizzie 6x6 papers. I believe these are the 12x12 papers cut down to the 6x6 size because they have the slightly bigger patterns on them. I really like this collection. I like that there's a mix of aqua and pink. It's actually more of a minty aqua, and just like some really interesting color combinations that I wouldn't necessarily have put together myself, but I like the way they look together. There's this mix of gray, which is toning it down a little bit too, which is nice, and some enamel dots, which are always a fun and useful embellishment. So I'm ready to get started on the card, and I decided that I wanted to stamp the bear on some pattern paper. So instead of just straight up coloring him and putting him on white cardstock, I would have a little bit of paper piecing. I knew that there would be two ways to add some color over paper piecing. One is with distress ink and the other with Copic markers. There's lots of other ways as well, but those two ways came to mind quickly. In the shop, Nicole does carry all of the distress mini ink pads individually that you can purchase. And so I wanted to make sure that I showed you how you could color it with those because I know not everyone has access to Copic markers. When I used the distress, the bear was stamped in the archival jet black ink, and then for the ones that I'll be using with Copics, I stamped it in the My Favorite Things Black Licorice Hybrid ink because those are inks that will work best with the two different techniques. The distress ink, a nice waterproof ink is always a good idea, and for the Copic markers, Memento, and My Favorite Things Black Licorice Hybrid are both excellent. So I just want to add a little bit of shading to the bear. And like I mentioned, there's two ways to do that, one with Copic markers and one with distress inks. So with the Copic markers, I'm just taking one of the light gray markers and going all around the bear. One of the advantages to doing it with the Copic marker is you can go in to smaller areas because you have the marker tip, whereas with the distress ink you are going to be kind of limited and you have to add color to large areas. For the bear in the Copic markers, I used, I believe, a C1 marker, and for the distress ink I used pumice stone. I am definitely curious for how hickory smoke would look because pumice stone is a very sort of brown, or what I might call a warm gray, and hickory smoke promises to be a little bit more of a blue gray, which I'm interested in. I actually tend to use the W markers, the warm grays, but because this paper that I'm using has the cool grays, I think it would have been a little bit better to use those. And so I would have liked that hickory smoke, which is now available in the Right at Home shop, so I'll have to pick that up soon. So I'm just adding the color so that it's darkest in the bottom right hand and creates the effect of a little bit of a shadow. Now that I have two bears colored up, I fussy cut all of the bears out and I decided which one that I liked best, and it went with the distress ink one for this instance. I took a Lawn Fawn stitched rectangle die and cut out one of the smaller stitched rectangles to create a scene. And I decided that I wanted to use that banner because I thought it was really cute, but the word happy doesn't coordinate, like doesn't build into another sentiment from the set, and so I decided that I would just paper piece it. And so I'm going to pick two more colors, or two more pattern papers from the collection and stamp the banner again. but I'm going to stamp it on the wrong side because I don't want the letters to show up. I just want to be able to cut the banners. So in this instance, I want the solids, and so I stamped it on the pattern side, so that way when I cut it out, I will have the right size and the exact dimensions, but it will be in the solid color side so that I can create a solid banner rather than that happy banner that was right there before. And I decided to add some double-sided tape to the back of the banners before I cut them out, so that way once I started cutting them it would be easier to add adhesive because the adhesive would already be on it. But another suggestion might be to use multimedia matte from Ranger. I know that would stick really well, and I do tend to use that a lot, but in this particular instance I just went with the tape instead. So I cut out the banner, and the tape that I used you can still see through even though it is semi-solid, and then I'm just placing it over. And I had stamped it in 2 different colors just so I can create a little pattern and incorporate some more of the colors, because some of my favorite colors from this particular collection were the aquas and the pinks, so I want to make sure that I can incorporate a couple of the different pinks there. So I'm just going to show you how I cut out 2 of them and then move on from there, because you see that I would just continue to do the same process to get the rest of them. And once I had the banner done, now I was ready for the sentiment. And I love the sentiments in this set. There's some that say, "You've got happy mail," which I'm actually going to use on the envelope later. "You are one of my favorite thoughts," which is the one I decided to go with for this card. "Consider yourself hugged." And so I just like that it's a really great friendship set, and it can be sentiments that you would send at any time of the year, not specific to a certain occasion or something like that. So I'm just stamping that in the archival jet black ink from Ranger because I want to make sure it's a nice solid sentiment. But then I decide that I need a little bit more interest on the back of, or on this panel, and so I decide to go with the little butterflies from the stamp set. I also like the idea of being able to incorporate lots of little stamps from a stamp set. When I first get a stamp set, I kind of want to use everything, and but not make my card too busy. And so that's why I also decided to go with the coordinating envelope, because then I could use a little bunny, as you'll see later on. So I'm stamping some of the butterflies and also the trails. I know you could always draw in your own trails, but it's fun to have them done for you so that you don't have to worry about messing up or anything like that. But I did have to spend some time thinking about how should I position the trails so that they make sense coming from the butterflies and that there's enough room, because I hadn't really planned on using the butterflies beforehand. I decided to stamp the butterflies in the Black Licorice Hybrid ink again because I wanted to add a little bit of color with Copic markers, but of course you could add a color with any marker you have on hand because there's no blending in this instance. It's just going to be a little touch of pink, and so use whatever ink and markers coordinate well for you. So like I said, I'm just going to touch it with a little bit of an RV marker from an RV Copic marker. Wow, sorry. And then I will add the bear with a little bit of foam tape. I don't want to add too much dimension to the card, but I know that I'll be adding the enamel dots later, so this dimension will be okay. It's going to just have to be one of those cards that you add a little extra postage to. So now that I have my main panel, my main scene created, I want to pick out a pattern paper to go with the background. And so this is what I do when I pick pattern paper every time. I literally go through all the different sheets, place the panel down, see what I like. If I find one that I like, I put it in my maybe pile, and then I put all the ones that I didn't like over in another pile for definite no. I was looking for something that might incorporate another color from the collection, like the red, so it would present a high contrast. But I also wanted something that was relatively simple, something that was too busy, wouldn't work, and would detract from the scene. So I settle on this polka dot paper because I like that it incorporates 2 new colors, the red as I mentioned before, but also the yellow. However, I didn't like that it didn't bring back in the dark pink, and so I'm going to cut a strip of the dark pink. Now, in order to get a diagonal strip of the dark pink color, I'm going to need to cut it diagonally from the 6x6 piece, because if you cut a piece horizontally or vertically off the 6x6, it won't work, because in order to cover this entire panel on the diagonal, you're going to need something a little bit longer than 6 inches. So I just cut it diagonally from the sheet, and then it will fit on over the center here, and then I'll turn it over and trim it out, and I find that to be the easiest way rather than trying to make those measurements ahead of time. So I am actually going to adhere the panel onto the strip rather than the strip onto the panel, make sure that I like it, and then, like I said before, I'll turn it over and take a scissor and just trim those edges out. So that way everything lines up perfectly, and I find that that actually saves me time. And then I have that pink color incorporated in. I've gotten rid of the little bit of the busyness of the dotted paper because that was a little bit distracting. I've kind of toned it down now by adding that pink back in. And so I'm ready to add some of these really cute enamel dots that were included. The enamel dots incorporate the dark and light pink and the aqua color as well. And I didn't want to use the aqua enamel dots right over the aqua panel because I thought they would blend in. And so you see there that I'm trying to just kind of mix it up and think about where I'm layering them. And what's nice about the enamel dots is they're on these clear backing sheets, so you can sort of place it down, see what you think of it without actually sticking it to the page. And I had thought initially about doing like 3 in the top corner and 3 in the bottom corner, but I don't want to put enamel dots right behind the bear's bottom. Quite frankly, because I don't want it to look like they are coming out of the bear inappropriately. And so I decide to do a slightly different arrangement. But I'm going to generally do like 2 or 3 dots, and I think that enamel dots tend to look better when you do some bigger ones and some smaller ones next to each other. I really do like the small ones and find that I use up all of my small ones before I use up all of my big ones. And so I'm waiting for the day when there's enamel dots that there's a lot of extra small ones and only a few big ones, because that's kind of how I tend to use them. And so once I've fussed around and figured out where I like all the placement, that's going to be it for the card, and I'm ready to move on to my envelope. Like I said before, when I get a brand new stamp set, I want to use all the different elements from it, incorporate some different ideas, but I'm only making one card at a time. So I thought it'd be fun to decorate an envelope. I've had a lot of people, when I send them cards, really compliment how they like that it showed up cute in their mailbox, and then they opened it and it was cute outside the mailbox too. So I'm going to be stamping the You've Got Happy Mail, and what I noticed is that this little bunny actually nestles into the space between the You've Got and the Happy Mail, and so I placed it right there because it just seemed like such a natural fit. And then I'm going to do some masking so that it appears like the bunny is holding the envelope. And so you want the bunny to be on top of the envelope, and so you'll stamp the bunny first and then mask it, and that's just a post-it note there. And you see I didn't even have to cut out the entire bunny to make this work. I just cut out the portion that I wanted, and I might suggest stamping a few of them at one time because it is a little bit of work, and you could create a couple happy envelopes all at one time. And I'm not going to add any coloring or anything like that. It's just a little bit of something to make it a little more special. As mentioned before, because it has the enamel dots and a little bit of foam tape, you might want to add some extra postage to this because sometimes these get eaten up by the mail machines and the sorting machines. So that's it for my card and envelope today. As mentioned, this video is sponsored by Right at Home, and they included this Lawn Fawn stamp set for me to give away. And so what I'm going to ask you to do in order to qualify for the giveaway is in the comment section below, I'm going to leave a link to the shop, and I want you to head over, take a look around, see what they have, come back and let me know what your favorite product they carry is, and just leave a comment. And from those comments, I'll pick a winner. I'll leave links to the shop and to the products in the video description below so you can check out their shop. And thanks for watching. I also wanted to mention, that they are only open to the U.S. right now for shipping. So if you're an international, the giveaway and the shop aren't going to be well suited for you. But I do have another giveaway coming up soon that will be open internationally as well. So check out the link, leave me a comment for your chance to win. Thanks for watching. Bye.